Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. This video will have to do with the Ukraine war, an update and what's going on over there in Zaporizhzhia, in Odessa, in Kursk. These are the main changes as of now. We have some desertions, mass desertions in Ukraine. Putin tells his story about how Ukraine in his vision will be after this is over. Then we have Zelenskyy in Budapest meeting Mr. Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary, and how he was snubbed in Budapest as well. Zelenskyy is still a delusional guy with a lot of chutzpah. Well, the first DPRK, the North Korean troops casualties on the Ukraine front, according to one of the big liars. And who could that be? And that's gonna be the video for today. We're going to analyze all these topics. Before I go and start these topics, I will have to make a short announcement. I will make today a video, probably the third one. This is the first one, there's going to be another one, and then the third one is going to be analyzing your comments for the video, as I said, with Mr. Gerard Taylor. So stay tuned, I will discuss comments in that video. It's going to be the third video of today. The second video will have to do with international relations, and we'll find out what's next. All right, so let's start with this article first. This comes from Ukrainska Pravda. Russia launches drone attack on Odessa. The point is, the Russians now increase their attacks on two fronts. Remember, as of now, we got Kherson, Kharkov, they got the Kursk garbage, and they have obviously in Donetsk, where they're advancing greatly. In Luhansk, it's a little tip over there, they don't really have anything over there, but now they change into Zaporizhzhia and south towards Odessa. This is a point I'm going to make this video in this video, which is start with Russia launches drone attack on Odessa. And explosions were heard in the city of Odessa as Russian forces attacked the city with drones on the evening of 7th of November. So last night, quote from the Oblast military administration, and I'm quoting, "The enemy is attacking Odessa and the surrounding area with drones, plural. Our air defense forces have been activated. Stay in shelters." On the evening of 7th November, the Russians once again launched attack drones on Ukraine. The air forces reported drone coming from the Black Sea towards the city of Odessa and Pivdiene. So that must have been down here. So this is the Black Sea. This is Odessa. So this is the area where these guys attack. Now, I make my point that they are focusing on Odessa and in Zaporizhzhia here. Why? Because everything is good for the Russians in Donetsk. Luhansk is staying over there, but I think that also it's bad news for the Ukrainians right here, or the West. Look at this little thing here. And then in Kharkiv, the Russians' offensive is going good so far. We're going to turn to another article now, coming from Ukrainska Pravda. Number of casualties rises to 40 after large-scale Russian attack on Zaporizhzhia. When was the last time you heard about a large or massive attack on Zaporizhzhia? Again, this is from last night, 7th of November 2024. The number of casualties following Russian strikes on Zaporizhzhia on the afternoon of November 7 has risen to 40, including 4 children. 4 people, peep. Okay, let's see pictures. Remain in hospital, so 30 people remain in hospital. So must have been a significant attack. So let's see where Zaporizhzhia is. Not Oblast, the city. So here is, a little bit north, right here. So this is Zaporizhzhia. This Zaporizhzhia is on the Donetsk River. This used to be the the reservoir by the Nehodar, where you have the power plant here, the nuclear power plant, Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, and here is Zaporizhzhia. So the Russians prepare something on this area, maybe another offensive. All right, let's go to the, where is that? The third right here. Ukrainian soldiers increasingly deserting, according to Economist. So why is it Why do people do this? Well, the morale is bad, and maybe they are waiting for Trump to do something, but still have to wait two months and a half until he gets into office. But let's see how many out of how many, what's the ratio? And they say out of 5, 1 out of 5 deserted. A Trump bargained peace deal could save Kiev from defeat, the magazine has argued. Now, this is The Economist. This is an English, British newspaper, if I remember correctly. It's not a Russian one. As many as 1 in 5 Ukrainian soldiers have deserted their position as morale has collapsed at the worst section of the front. The worst section, I'm assuming, is Pokrovsk. The Economist claimed in an article on Wednesday, citing a source within Kiev's general staff. Ukrainian army is struggling to replace battlefield losses, with conscription barely hitting 2/3 of its targets. It's okay, NATO will be activated before Trump gets in the office. However, there is no indication that the Ukrainians are able to give up are about to give up and I'm quoting, they have enough weapons to resist, enough ground to fall back on if things go badly. Oh, great. So you're telling me that the weapons will be just discharged themselves, or right? We need someone to pull triggers. Oh, you're going to do it from NATO countries? All right, I guess so. And yeah, it's true. You got a big territory to fall on until you go to Poland. Great plan. All right, let's see what's going on right here. That's another development on the Ukraine front. Russia launches new counteroffensive in Kursk Oblast. Again, this is from 14 hours ago. So that is the 7th of November 2024. Throughout the day, the situation in the region escalated as Russia intensified attacks around Pohrebki, Zelenskyy, Darinyo, and Sudza. While the enemy's offensive was largely held back, the situation around Sudza remains uncertain. Moreover, Russian forces have once again resorted to their usual tactic of deploying infantry from IFVs. The analysts predict that the Russians will continue heavy assaults with the new arrived units. Oh, and those are the alleged North Korean units. Oh, right there. So, okay, I went ahead of my skis. Earlier on November 7, Ukrainian, because he's Ukrainian, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, because he's double Y for whatever reason, confirmed to Western partners that North Korean soldiers suffered initial losses in battles with Ukrainian forces in Russia's Kursk Oblast. We're going to discuss that in the last article, I think, of this video. So where is this Kursk, huh? This Kursk is right here in the north, kind of, northeast. Here is the invasion of Russia. Napoleon Bonaparte has an idea. This is shrinking, looks to me, and they're going to cut like this. Krampan Zampa, Lanka, Manka. All right, now you got it. It was an initial success. I don't know exactly what they wanted with this. They wanted to go to Moscow. It's a long way to the top if we want to rock and roll. So from here, you go to Moscow right here. But why would you go to Moscow? Why don't stick around? All right, let's see what's next. Ukraine must be neutral, Putin says. So I told you that as long as Putin is in place and people like him, Ukraine will be a failed state as long as these guys are pushing. And they failed. These guys failed. They thought, they claim, hey, the Russians thought that they will conquer Ukraine in 2 weeks. I thought that too. Why? That would have been the outcome, Russia versus Ukraine. But it wasn't, and it's still not Russia versus Ukraine. It's Russia versus NATO, more and more and more. So if these guys escalated, brought, from a little pew 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 to pew 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 to pew 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 to tanks to airplanes and intelligence and volunteers and trainers and all that, and they're still losing, that tells me the Russians are still doing okay. It wasn't 2 weeks, but it's not because it was Ukraine versus Ukraine resist. It's not Ukraine resisting. That's the Ukrainian people who get by the other guys, and the Ukrainians return the favor. Let's put it this way: for whom? Oh, for Putin's imperialistic view. I don't think so. I think it's for other interests that are right here, not right there, which is banking interest, military industrial complex, and the natural resources sector, which is gas, oil, and those baboons. This is what I think it is. So Putin says we're not going to give up. Ukraine must. It's not should or could, must. And not even ought to. It's must. That's an order. Moscow is seeking long-term peace, not, freezing, rather than temporary solution to the conflict. The Russian leader has stressed Ukraine will remain a tool in foreign hands and will never achieve true independence and sovereignty unless it becomes neutral. Why did he say that? Each and every country, not each, and I don't want to generalize it because Hungary is not the case. But you look at Romania, look at Poland, look at Baltic states, look at Germany. These countries are not independent and sovereign. In my assessment, I think they're not only occupied militarily with American troops, they're also occupied politically, economically, and culturally. That is, this garbage these guys are pushing on us here is getting transferred over there and is portrayed as progressing. Progressing towards what? I tell you towards what? To a cliff. I remember someone who used to say the lemmings. The lemmings. Now, who that was a doctor. People familiar with the matter know exactly who I'm talking about. That doctor used to say in his speeches, lectures, podcasts, if you want to call them that way, we are like lemmings. That is following. If one follows across the cliff, everybody follows. The same are these baboons. Why? They can't think independently. They want to be on the winning side. So winning side is whatever these guys decide or dictate. All right, so I think it's true. Ukraine will be neutral and not independent. Ukraine will never be independent as long as Russia is strong. If Russia gets broken, then again, it's not going to be independent, but it will switch. I think Ukraine is done. That's what I think it is. It's not going to be independent ever again. Why? It's going to be either under the Russian control, total control, or under the NATO, European Union membership control. All right, let's go to the next article. Zelenskyy meets Orban. Let's see what that's all about. Zelenskyy, Now, why do I see Zelenskyy with double Y? And this is by the Ukrainians. In some of the Ukrainians' articles is with one I, Y, not I, Y, and in some is with two. And why should it be two? Zelenskyy, is that because I have to, no? Anyway, meets Orban in Budapest, attends EU political summit. Here is the leader for you. Here is a puppet for you. This is his first visit to Hungary since Russia's full-scale invasion. Again, you see Russia's full-scale invasion. I don't see 30 million Russians invading. I don't see nuclear weapons used. So I don't think it's a full-scale invasion. Full-scale is good. Full means everything, all. So fuck off. And I'm quoting, I will speak after the meeting, he told reporters. Okay, let's see. Despite doubts among some summit participants about his visit to Budapest, given Orban's position on Russia's war against Ukraine, Zelenskyy announced his trip and plans to meet with Orban and European Council President Charles Michel, a baboon, appointed, remember, in his traditional evening address to the nation on November 6. Zelenskyy said he has been invited to the event by Orban and Michel, and they would discuss security challenges. I'm going to discuss in this the security challenges between Ukraine, Zelenskyy and Hungary. European leaders are meeting in a Hungarian capital to digest the US election results and try to formulate their first response to the prospect of second Trump presidential term. Well, he's going to come and everybody's going to be applauding. That's what's going to be. Next one. Zelenskyy's speech not shown in official broadcast of Budapest summit. Oh my God, the big leader right here, the big leader was not, the red carpet was not rolled for this. Do you remember when it started the whole garbage on the 24th of February 2022? How the Europeans received the order to roll the red carpet for this Stein. Remember that one? And he was invited to speak over the for the parliaments. He showed up and then he was virtually, everybody was like, oh my God, Mr. Braunstein is talking to us. Oh my God, everybody pretend, God damn it. That's exactly how it was. Now it seems like Orban is like, you're just another baboon here. That's what it is. And I think that's accurate representation. The speech made by the Ukrainian president, because he's Ukrainian, he's Ukrainian, Volodymyr Zelenskyy at the European Political Community Summit in Budapest on Thursday, 7 November, was not shown in the official online broadcast. Why? Who the are you? You're not even in the European Union. What are you? You're at the border of, let's say, Europe and Asia, because these guys say, hey, Russia is not in Europe. Russia is an Asian country. You know, Europe actually is to the Caucasus Mountains, if I remember correctly. Therefore, not, I was about to say half, a little bit of Russia, like Turkey. Turkey is in Europe, just with the little piece of thing westward of Constantinople. How do you like that, my Greek friends? How do you like that, my Turkish friends? Anyway, to Istanbul, you know what I mean. All right, let's move on. I have some Greek friends who refer to Istanbul always as Constantinople and refuse to call it Istanbul. Well, all right. So it was not shown. The official program, including Zelenskyy speaking second after Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban and before French President Emmanuel Macron. Orban and Macron's speeches were broadcast and posted separately online, but the organizers did not broadcast or publish the Ukrainian president's speech, Radio Liberty says. A Hungarian representative of the event organizers told reporters that Zelenskyy's speech was supposedly not public, but a video of it had been passed on to his team. Representative of the Ukrainian authority contacted the Radio Liberty, said this was not true. Okay, whatever, you were not posted. Next one. Do I think it was supposed to be posted? Yeah, but not with fanfare. No, not even with drums. Just be over there. I mean, maybe people want to hear it. He was invited. His speech should have been on that. I mean, I'm against censoring or barring anybody from speaking. He was invited. His speech should have been over there. I'm not celebrating. I don't like the whole situation over there with him being in charge of Ukraine and being elected and so on, and getting the Ukrainian nation being destroyed by the Russians at the orders of the guys in charge of us here as well. But still, he is over there. He was invited. He should have been allowed to be heard. That's not maybe the second, but not the last. Somewhere in the middle, when people lose interest. Make it like that, you know. You have to understand how you propagandize and how you influence people's opinions and shape them. You have to use certain kind of psychological tools, which is don't go at the beginning, at the end. Those will remain most likely in people's brain. Use it in the middle, like a book. When if you read a book, you're gonna most likely remember. These are studies, not me just coming here and telling you. So it's at the beginning or the end. The middle is usually losing. All right, so let's see what Zelenskyy thinks. That he still thinks, but hey, it's chutzpah. He thinks that he's still important. Not to the Hungarians, obviously. Bilateral agreement with Hungary hinges on supporting Ukraine's NATO bid. Zelenskyy, and here he is with his little beak. Now, what do you mean? First, Ukraine is not even rope-a-doping. It's like, I'm sorry, but this probably will remain in my vocabulary from now on. I like both boxers. Don't get me wrong. I like Usyk. I like Tyson Fury. I like them. I like Usyk more because I think he's anyway. So remember when they fought now in round 8, I think it was, and you saw Tyson Fury in the courts like that. You see those famous or infamous pictures with him. That's exactly how Ukraine is right now. That's what's going to be my analogy. Not because I don't like Fury. It's just because I think that is a great. That's exactly how Ukraine is. And the guy, like in this situation, he tells another country which is like that, our bilateral agreement will hinge on you supporting us, the NATO bid. But you are. Now, how do you call it? Chutzpah. All right, let's move on. And we find out that Zelenskyy knows things because he's part of the Big Lie group. Here you have it. Zelenskyy. North Korean soldiers sustained first losses, he says. And we should believe him. Again, Zelenskyy has stated North Korean soldiers fighting alongside Russian forces in Kursk Oblast, Russia have already suffered losses. He said this at the end conference following the European Political Community Summit. Currently 11,000, not 11,001, not 10,999 North Korean soldiers are present. Is like the 6 million or like 3 million, like 5 millions. I have to cover my tail now. Are present on Russian territory near the Ukrainian border, specifically in Kursk Oblast. Some of these troops have already taken part in combat operations against Ukrainian forces, and they are already casualties. Now, if you look at this, there are always casualties. I don't get it. It's the Ukrainian forces having casualties or the North Koreans. Some of these troops have already taken part in combat operations against, and there are already casualties. Okay, let's believe him, right? They are over there and they're fighting. Then what? I tell you what. He wants NATO to bring troops in Ukraine and fight the Russians because right now it's a world war. Well, if you use the same logic, then who started the Second World War? If we had, and we know in September 1st, 1939, the Wehrmacht entered Poland. So it was one-on-one. Okay, how did the Second World War started? Well, two other countries declared war to Germany. Who were those? Great Britain and France. So that's how the Second World War started. Before that, it was one-on-one. The same here. If we use the same logic of Zelenskyy, that is Russia, Ukraine, which we know is Russia, NATO. There's not a world war, no. But it's the world war when we have North Korean troops allegedly coming and fight. That's the world war right there. Not these 30-some countries fighting the Russians. No, that's not the Third World War. No, it's not. So you understand? So you either consider when North Korea comes is a world war, then you consider the same logic in the Second World War when the Brits and the French came over and said, declare war on that bad dude. Make up your mind. All right, not you. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.